Hi everybody, it's Molly from Hairamedics Salon in La Jolla. This is a video for Halloween makeup, which is why I have pretty much no makeup on. I started with a shadow base, super important to do that. This is one by Sorme. It's awesome. If you don't have that, you can use concealer. It gives your shadow a canvas to sit on so that it doesn't seep into your skin and just kind of vanish like these things sometimes do when they're not prepped properly. So this is the one I used. It's Urban Decay. It's called Highway Queen. So awesome. Tons of coppery fun colors that are very holiday appropriate. I started with a color called Roswell. We just did a thin line just like this. On each eye, I have lash extensions, so we're not really going to talk much about mascara because of that, but I'll give you a few tips for it at the very end just for what I'd recommend to get a similar effect. So the second color is called Pullover, which is really fun. Let me adjust these lights a little bit. That's that second color. It's very like tequila sunrise, so I really dig that. I used a lay down brush for the first two colors. Whenever you're in the crease, you want something that has a little bit of like a rounded edge, like this or like this. So those are great. So that's what we're gonna do. Our next one is called Backseat Babe, one of my favorite of all the colors. It's right here, looks like this. These are literally $10 at Nordstrom Rack for the entire palette. Why it's so inexpensive, I don't know, but who cares, right? Okay, so we're gonna go up. This is the third color. So each one is progressively brighter than the one before. And you always give yourself a little bit of room and make those lines of color thin or kind of narrow, if you will, so that you have room to blend. I like to go back and forth, especially when you're in that crease, to make sure you get all the way. One of the fun things I like to do, especially when it's like a kind of like a poppy color, is put a little bit on a rounded brush that's like this, where it's almost a point, and it keep your eye open and just put it right in there in that little well that's on the inner eye. It really just brings that color out and makes it pop, which is what we want. It's also just kind of fun and different because not a lot of people do that. So why not do something different, get something different. Also, this little do is a French braid that goes to here that's pulled loose and a little top knot. The top knots are shown on some of my other videos. This is a little teased and wild. Not really teased, but a little wild. It's sort of dry shampoo and products like that, like texture sprays that give it a little like girth and traction and beef. So it's fun for updos. Always make sure you use texture spray. Oligos is wonderful. So next color. This color is called Highway Queen. Just a soft, not a shimmery finish, just a soft, like kind of peachy color. It's a great way to transition as you go up because you don't want to be that girl or guy where your shadow ends just beneath your brow and it's just too much. It has the, tendency to look very, super villain. Unless that's what you're going for, then by all means. Well, I would do that with liner and brows, but I digress. So the next color is called Coast. That's this one up here that's sort of a yellowy white. And that one goes on the very top. Very top. Now, if this is too intense for you too, you can take that color Coast and you can just kind of bring it in, not all the way down to the well on the inside. See what that does? It sort of softens the transition. So it's not so intense. Super easy. So that's it. That's it for the eyes as far as the shadow goes. So the next thing we're gonna do is foundation. One of my pro hacks as a stylist and makeup artist is this one by NYX. I know, NYX. I didn't even think. There's one that's really got a lot of gold, great for people like me who aren't pink and don't want to be. Thank you. It's called Caramel, and the other color is called Soft Beige. So you take your beauty blender like this. I put one pump of each, so it goes like that, pump. And then the next one, little pump, looks like that. You don't have to do anything in the way of pushing it into the blender or anything like that. Super easy. I try to keep it super easy. So then you just dot, 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 just like that all over your face. And make sure you get your nose. You got a nose ring like I do, be careful. Okay, so then you just sort of rub it in. Now, when you see this color, sometimes people think, oh gosh, that's really dark. You know, me and my really good friend were talking last night and saying, God, if we had known what we know now about makeup in our 20s, our pictures would have been so much better. Because back then, everybody was using MAC. MAC has mica in it, and mica is reflective, which means when the light hits it, especially in a flash, it gives you that dreaded white face, which no one wants. What you should be doing, in my opinion, is not matching your foundation to your face, because usually if you're a good girl or boy and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're wearing sunscreen on your face every day, which means your face is going to be a lot lighter than everything else. Well, we're not trying to look like that girl or guy with white face. So you want to be matching your foundation to your body, not to your face, to your body. So I'm a tan girl, and so my color for my face is a lot more tan, so that first off, so that it matches my body, but second off, so that when I do take photos, everything goes together, everything matches. So that's just a pro tip from me to you, all this. When you're doing this, don't worry so much about right under your eyes, because you're gonna do that with concealer anyway. And if you find that a lot of times that's too thick, well, could very well be because you've got too thick a foundation under there and then the other thing on top of it, and it can tend to look cakey. So I like to just dot, dot, dot with my beauty blender. Fabulous, just like that. And it should be brighter, it should be lighter. That's what you want, especially since most people have a little bit of darkness under their eyes, kind of little dark circles. So you want to counteract that. Other tricks are, you know, if you tend to be too pink, use the ones that are have a little green hue to them, so that it'll cancel that out. And there's something for everybody. If you tend to have zero warmth and you're super ash, you can get the ones that have a little orange. This one's got a little gold to it, which is amazing. I love that. And you see how everything starts to just fit together. Yes, this is darker than what my skin tone is on my face, but it does match my body, which is what we want. Okay, so next step in Halloween makeup. So we've already done a couple of things. We've already done the foundation, we've already done the eyeshadow, and now we've done our under eye concealer, which is super important. One of my faves that I really like is this one. It is by It Cosmetics. It's called Your Skin But Better. It's a CC+. I really like the color tan for my skin tone. Looks like that, awesome. Pro tip on this one, after you use it for a while, you'll notice a little kind of almost like a buildup on your brush. So make sure you clean your brushes often. I love using detox shampoo from Color Proof. I'm breaking all the rules and suggesting like 18 different lines right now, but hey, beauty is where you find it, right? So you use the detox shampoo from Color Proof, which clarifies with baking soda. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous for cleaning your brushes, for cleaning your beauty blenders, all of that. Because if it gets too built up, it's not going to be as smooth as it should when it comes to your application. Pretty much a lifelong rule, you know. So when you're using dirty makeup brushes, it's just not going to look clean and gorgeous. So just don't do that. Anyway, always lay your brushes flat also. The glue is at the base, and if you stand them up when you clean them, then the water is going to seep in and weaken that bond of the glue that holds all the bristles together. So pro tip number 592. Anyway, so next we will do blush. I really love, there's a few things I really love from Lime Life. This is one of them. Comes in a palette like so. It's kind of an apricot-y color, which I really like for, especially for doing eyes that have kind of like a warm palette of colors. I like that blush to have kind of that oranginess to tie it all together. So it's that apricot, but it's still a true blush as far as it has pink in it too. So just like that, you know, you're going for the apples of your cheeks, working its way up. And then always have in mind when you're doing your blush, leave a spot for the bronzer. We don't want to be that girl with giant, you know, powder puffs on her cheeks. You want to leave enough room for your bronzer to be in here, and you're going to follow that. Now remember, light brings out, dark deepens. So you do that right below those cheekbones to make those cheekbones pop. I also, just for the sake of transition, go around my whole face. That way you're kind of like blending it out. Everything's about transition in my mind and makeup. And that's one way to make the transition really good. This brush looks like a fan, kind of. Fabulous for luminizer. So go like this. This is the one. This one is from The Balm, which is a brand I really dig for bronzer and luminizer. Love this fan brush because it's not too clumpy all in one spot. You know, some of these people, when they've got the luminizer on, God, it looks like they just finished a very sweaty marathon. It's too much. You just want it to be enough to like catch the light. That's the point. So when it comes to that, just another little pro tip. So next, lips. All right. I tend to favor something that is the opposite of the eye. So if the eye's intense, then the lips should be soft. If the lips are intense, the eyes should be soft. I feel like these eyes overall are kind of on the soft side, so let's go a little more intense with the lip. I think that would be fun. Oh, and depending on what your costume is and how you're dressing up, you can go big with your brows. We'll do that a little bit more. You can also go with black right here in your waterline, or if you're trying to be light and bright like a fairy princess, you can do white, and that tends to make the eye look really, really open. Why don't we, just for the sake of fun, do one eye in each one? I think that would be cool because then you can sort of compare and contrast and see what you like more for your particular look. So here's the white, just like this, on the waterline. You'll be able to see it as it goes on. A little white and bright, white and bright. See what it does to my eyes? It makes it look kind of interesting. Like people do a double take. Makes you look really awake, even when you aren't. Take my word for it. So, and then this second one that I'm gonna put on the other eye is from Sormé. It's kind of a taupey gray, which is fun because it's not so intense. Sometimes the black, you're like, oh gosh, I look way too serious. So that one just adds a little bit of intensity around the eye. If you have a hard time, you can always just pull it down with one finger and go for it. And then just shut that eye for a second if it does get irritated at all. So next we're gonna do a liner. It's called Cappuccino. This one's a little bit on the darker side. You wanna go right to the bottom of that lip and up and up. I like to fill it in a little bit, so that makes your lipstick last a little longer. Some people are really into the mattes, others love the all day kind of color. See what I did? I like to kind of join that up on the side. Maximum lips that way. If you want something less intense, you can always go with a gloss. If you want more intense, you can either accomplish that with the richer color of the lip color itself, or by just doing what we're doing, filling it a little, break those rules. You know, you don't have to wait till you got lipstick on to pucker it together. You can do that whenever you want. So, see how that just adds a little volume? Love that. So, the color that we're going to use, what should we do? Something kind of intense would be fun. We've got a lot of pinks here. Oh, here we go. This is cool. This color is also by The Balm. It is called Amanda. Okay. So, kind of rich, kind of like intense, sort of vivid. Love that. Ooh, nice and deep. Look very like troublesome. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is brows. I really like an outline and underline of the brow. So this is a brown liner, kind of on the warm side, because I'm a redhead. You start on the inside, go up, 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 up to the arch, and then go down. Just like that, and maybe extend that line a little bit like I've done. Then on the top, now notice I'm not going all the way to the inner corner, not all the way. We kind of back up off it a little bit. Up, up, up to where the arch is, then transition down. And it might seem like, oh my goodness, that's quite a brow, but those are in style right now. You know, thicker brows are in style. And for those of us that tweezed a lot in the 90s and early 2000s, we've got to just make it happen. So same thing here, start on the inside, up, 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 to where that arch starts, and then go down and extend it. You're always trying to make it seem like there's a little more going on than there actually is. Life hack with makeup. And, you know, maybe the character that you're playing is kind of a villain of sorts, or you're looking for something that's kind of got that intensity to it. Well, this is a great way to add intensity, is with brows. Plus you do all your expressions with your brows, you know? And look at both, because more often than not, you have one brow that's higher. Usually people have a whole side of their face that's higher. So you want to, this is where you make those adjustments. This brow is a little bit lower, so I can just kind of go up. And you use your white pencil to sort of correct it and fix any mistakes that you might have. Do we have a shiny spot? Okay. So now that we've done that, I'm just gonna, okay. Now that we've done that, we fill it in. So you want to use an angle brush that looks like this, kind of a little, it's very thin. One of the things I noticed that different makeup artists have told me over time is that you want your makeup brush for your brows to be really, really thin. It just works better. So you can just put your brush, you can put a little bit of water on it, spritz it if you want to. If they're your own brushes and you don't use them for anybody else, you know, you can set it on your tongue, I mean, hey. Okay, so then you go in right here, ding, 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 and just come right in and start filling that brow in. Notice this is when I do go more to that inner corner, because I can control the shape and all that. You just don't want that with the waxy pencil. So there we go. The color that I'm using is actually a foundation color from Lime Life. I have a palette that is for, you know, finding what your shade is, and some of these colors are just fantastic for brows. I really like them also for under the eye. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about with that. And by all means, if you just want the size of your regular brows, go ahead, you know, it's up to you. But since this is for Halloween, it's a little more like pop. So I'll show you how you can use this color for under your eye, just so you can see. So this is one that's kind of like the colors, it's sort of like the saddle. And you just go like that and go right underneath. And since it's a powder, it just blends automatically. You don't have to go back in there and do all kinds of blending. And see how this looks different on the other eye, that it has the lighter, if I could talk, lighter liner in the waterline. That's sort of like a tongue twister. Just like that. So see, this one's gonna have that kind of almost like fantasy sort of look, and the other one's just kind of regularly intense. The orange is really, really fun, and there's another palette that is also from Urban Decay, and it's called Wired. That one's really cool for just adding a little bit of something extra. It has colors like hot pink and orange and all these different shades. So anyway, we've done everything. So I'm going to just see if I can have that Wired palette and check really quick. Stay with me. I do. So exciting. Okay, so this is what it looks like, Wired. So let's say you've done everything, but you're like, I don't know, still need something. This color is called Slow Burn right here. I really like Savage too, which is the hot pink. So let's go Savage. Put it on a brush that's shaped like this. I love the ones that have points because you can control where it goes and just make it a little detail instead of something that goes kind of nuts. Just like that. Adds a little something extra. There you go. And for kicks, the other day, I put that right under my brow. That was really fun. Let's see what slow burn looks like. Maybe just along this line. Ooh, that's fun, isn't it? How cool. All right, so slow burn's the one that's more of a red-orange. Definitely good for that whole tequila sunrise look. I love it. Now, what if we add a liner? What would that do? Do you guys want to see? I sure do. I'm very, very curious. Okay, so liner, liner, liner. Do we want to do just black? Or do we want to do a liquid liner? I say liquid, so let's do that. So we go right here. Now we already have all those colors on. You're just gonna start on the outside right here, going in. And I love a nice wing on it. And you can go right underneath and just tie those together. And then pull a little, lay it down, and sweep across. One of the things you can do if you have a hard time with liner is either wave it with your hand like that, or take your blow dryer, put it on cool, and just give it a quick blast, and it'll dry before you know it. I love it when it goes all the way in. So you can even do it a little bit more. Put that right there, and just with a really light hand, and then shut the eye, because that way if it's getting irritated, you don't mess it up and get it everywhere. So that's what this one looks like. Very cool. Wonder if we can brighten these lights so you can see that even better. What do you say we brighten the lights? Let's do it. Here we go. Da, 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 da. There we go. It's like that song, Blinded by the Light. So there it is. Really adds a little something extra to it. So then you come in on the other side. And I like the wing, and then blend the wing. So let me show you what that looks like. So you go kind of high up like we did. And then see how there's a space underneath? So you just tie that in together. So it makes it so it's nice and wide without losing anything in the process. And then you just tie them together. So pretty and so fun. There we go. Again, fan, fan, fan it. One of the ways that you can correct your brows, if you do have any brow issues, or you're just new to brows, you don't do them all the time, and you're like, oh gosh, I got that too thick. Let me show you what to do. I just have to grab my white liner. Let's find it. Ta-da. It's around here somewhere. Okay, who grabbed my white liner? Just kidding. Anyway, white liner is great for just correcting things. Here's one. Awesome. So let's say that you've gotten your, I'm turning this light down because I can't see a thing. Let's say that you've gotten your shadow on and you're just like, oh my, see these lights go warm and cool, so it's really fun that way. Let's say that you've got your shadow on and everything and you're like, okay, that's great, but I feel like my eyeshadow just doesn't stop in time. What can I do? So here's what you do. You take a white liner and you just go gently, gently, gently along the bottom of that brow line. And see how I can just cut in and correct it? How cool is that? Isn't that cool? And it definitely separates the brow from the shadow. You go on the other eye. Like this brow is probably a little fatter than the other one. No biggie. These brows are not sisters, or excuse me, what do they call it? Not twins, they're sisters. So nobody's two brows are ever gonna look 100% the same. So you can just go like this and go all the way along the outside of it, just like that. And at first you're going, oh Lord, everybody's gonna know. No, they're not. So you go da, 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 and then down, just to kind of clean that up. You can either take your finger, or if you have a brush that's kind of like this, where it's a little bit of a wax tip brush, you can blend with that. So you just go like this and blend that out. A lot of times I'll just take my finger. See how that always almost like makes it go away completely, but not. So it just blends it out. Same thing over here. Just go like that. Da, 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 da. It's almost like a magic eraser. It's pretty awesome. And I love how it gives more definition to the brows. Now, if you want to kind of blend that out more, let's say you went a little bananas with the powder, excuse me, with the white pen, you can just take whatever foundation color you've got, put it on an eyeshadow brush, and then go in and over it. Voila, totally perfect. I love that because it gives the face real definition, and it makes it so that you've got some good separation between, you know, your brow and your shadow, which sometimes, I mean, hey, none of us are perfect. Sometimes we don't, and we're going, oh boy, what did I do? Now, if you want to set your makeup just a little bit, you can do that with a lot of different things. You can do a translucent powder. I really like translucent powders, but just to give it that photo finish, you take that same fan brush, just like this. This is called Bye Bye Foundation. It's by It Cosmetics. It's awesome. And that's just something you can put over everything, especially if you tend to be oily. You can use it to bake, which means to kind of layer in weight so that you don't get oily. A lot of people are oily here, so you can put it there just as sort of an insurance policy so you don't look shiny and oily or greasy or anything like that. Thank you so much for joining me. Please follow me on my YouTube channel. It's Molly Mikesell, or excuse me, it's Hairamedics Salon Molly Mikesell. My Instagram handle is @Hairamedics. Please give me some ideas for any videos you'd like to see. I'll make them if you suggest it. And thank you so much for joining me. Have a beautiful day.